Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. And yeah, this is the alternative viewing to our stream, which for once I'm really looking forward to today. I mean, I don't not look forward to the stream, but I'm always a bit nervous about us not knowing what we're doing, not having a plan. Today, I think we kind of have a plan, and I hope it goes to plan. Maybe the plan is too simple. That could be the problem. Anyway, do check out our stream in case you're arrived at 11 and you are aware that you're not aware that there is a stream. It's on now, but you're probably watching this after the stream, and you've either watched it already, joined us in chat, or you can catch up on the VOD, which is under the live tab. So check that out. We stream on Monday evenings. It's been the Blueprints house for the last year. And we'll do more, I'm sure. So there's also, of course, what else do we do on the channel? We do Sudoku videos, 2 a day, 8:30 and 11 p.m. our time. Simon at 8:30, me at 11 p.m. And then we do crossword masterclasses on a Friday. And we do Minute Cryptic and Wordle in a Minute every day as well. Now, on Patreon, we have other videos. We have Connections and Gridogram and some difficult crosswords, cryptics always pretty much, so do check those out. We've also got we've also got a Sudoku hunt that is still very much live for a few days. Alien Invasion, do have a go at it. It's some very interesting counting circles puzzles, and the reviews have been absolutely great from the people who've finished solving it, which is over 1,000. Oh, I don't have the screen up where I could check the numbers. I'll remember to do that tomorrow or the next day. And there's also apps. We've got Line Sudoku, we've got Classic Sudoku, we've got the Worms, and they include the Worms of Zetamath and Michael Lefkowitz, among many others. Do check those out. They're great fun. They are available through the CTC app, and all the links are in the description field somewhere. And the first link there is to this puzzle, which is by Dr. Logic. Now, Dr. Logic wrote to us. Dr. Logic is a math student who, on the night he was writing to us, was completing his final revision for his final maths exam. And however it went, he was going to get a first as an undergraduate degree. That's fantastic. What is less fantastic for me is that he described this puzzle as quite mathsy, the rule set, and that's terrifying. I have a maths O-level, or GCSE for your young folks. I stopped studying maths at 16. So what a maths first class honours graduate thinks is quite mathsy may well be entirely beyond me. And the title is very Latinate, very mathsy, Divisores Dubiationis. I'm guessing that means suspicious factors. And you can correct my Latin if you're a language expert or a maths expert. And I'm going to go through the rules finally now. But congratulations to Dr. Logic on their degree. Fantastic. And let's have a look at the rules of Divisores Dubiationis. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So 1 to 9 will go in every row, column, and 3x3 box. Digits along a green or purple divisor line must satisfy the following. The line is read from one end, and each digit placed must wholly divide the sum of all the previous digits on the line. For example, 314 is valid as 1 divides 3 and 4 divides 3 plus 1. But 318 is invalid as 8 does not divide 3 plus 1. I think the term divide there means, well, it's what I would have called goes into, but it means divides leaving no remainder. And that's understandable. I think that's phrased in an understandable way. I don't see a problem with that. Oh, I see. There are differences between green and purple, which I had thought were here because just to distinguish which line is which. But no, digits cannot repeat on green lines, but can repeat on purple lines. Now, a red line. Adjacent digits on a red parity line alternate in parity, odd or even. So one of those is odd and one is even. One of those is odd and one is even. Cells separated by a white dot are consecutive. Cells separated by a black dot, one digit is double the other. We get a given 4, and those are the rules. Give it a try if you feel like a mathsy puzzle. Because that, I mean, I understood the rule, but I can understand also that it seems pretty complicated. It also seems very open-ended to me, but I don't know. Let's have a go. Let's get cracking. So there is nothing we can get cracking on in terms of the dots as they sit or the red. Oh no, the red line's interesting. The red line is either all odd. Remember, they alternate these digits between odd or even. So either those are all even and those are all odd, or vice versa. I mean, I could colour those, I suppose. Just, that's all we know about it. I don't know any more, but that's quite an interesting thing. Now, we're going to have to look at one of the division lines. What are they called? Divisor lines? Yeah, divisor lines. And this is the one that looks most interesting because we were told that digits cannot repeat on a green line. So this line contains all the digits 1 to 9. It's obviously 9 cells long. There's one cell in each column. And it's got black dots on both ends. And I fear that what we're going to have to do is work out for the numbers 1 to 9 what the order on a divisor line can possibly be, and hope that there's not that many. No, I'm going to do something else first. I'm going to talk about roping. Oh, I think this is quite interesting. Right. If we can't repeat the lines on this, the digits on this green line, then these 3 digits cannot be the same as these 3, and neither can these 3 because of the no repeats rule. So where do these 3 digits go in box 2? Let's call them the red set. They can't go here because they're in the same row. They can't go here because they're on the same line. They go here. And then in box 3, they'll go here. And this is what we call roping, where these kind of these sets of digits plait together. So where do these pink digits, which are not the red digits, where do they go in box 2? They go here. And then they go here in box 1. And let's call these yellow. They must be the same set of 3 in all of those areas. And what's interesting about that is that we decided that the pink digits are all the same parity. So they're clearly the same digits that are all the same parity here. And if that was even, that would use up too many even digits on the line for these black dots, each of which must have at least one even digit. So I'm going to rechristen pink as orange because I'll make this grey instead of red, just for the colour contrast. Now, I've got to be careful. I'm not saying in this puzzle that all orange digits are odd and all other colours are even or anything like that. These 3 are even. I'll make them blue. But I don't know how they tie into grey and yellow. Grey and yellow certainly contain all the even digits, but clearly they contain 2 odd digits as well. So there's a start. When we try and analyse this full 9-cell line, we know that the 3 middle cells are odd. I mean, that's a really interesting deduction. And it's lucky that I've heard of roping and seen this pattern on Ren bands before. Effectively, all the... Yeah, that's really... Oh no, the green lines aren't Ren bands because the shorter ones won't have a set of consecutive digits. But this one is because it's the digits 1 to 9. Now, I've been avoiding the maths. I've been avoiding trying to work out how to decide how to fill a line. Okay, I'm going to use this green area now as just experimental. I'm going to think about what is the last digit on the line. There is a concept of first and last digit on each line because one of the rules was the line is read from one end. So although we don't know which end they're read from, one end is the beginning and one end is the end. And I'm going to think about the digit at the end, the last digit, because on the 9-cell line at least, that has to be dividable. That has to be a factor of the sum of all the other digits. And not all of them will work. So 9 annoyingly would work because then we know the sum of the digits 1 to 9. It's a secret, but we share it with you, and it's 45. So if you subtract 9, the other digits add up to 36. And then if you appended a 9 to that set, it would obey the rule. So 9 is a possible last digit. 8 is not, because the other digits would add up to 37, and 8 does not go into 37. 7 doesn't go into 38. 6 doesn't go into 39, which is the remainder of the digits. It would be 6.5, and that's not integer. So 5 does go into 40, so that's a possible last digit. Oh, okay, interesting. Let's keep going on this trend. 4 does not divide into 41. 3 does divide into 42. Oh, what have I done there? I've added a 6 by mistyping. Right. 2 does not go into 43. 1 obviously does go into 44. So the end digit can be 9, 5, 3, or 1. But even though we don't know which end is which, the end digit here is on a black dot and therefore is not 5 or 9 because they don't have black dot companion possibilities. So the last digit is 3 or 1. And the number just before it, because of the black dot, is going to be 2 or 6. That's what black dots do. One digit is double the other. So it does that work for 3, 6. If 3 is the last digit, 42 minus 6 is 36. 6 does divide into 36, so that's legal. If it was 1, we're on 44. Divided by 2 gets us to 42. And 2 does go into that. So I think that's how we're going to have to work on all these divisor lines, is by thinking about the last digit and working backwards along the line. And the trouble is, I think what I might do is aide-memoire this with 2 separate rows. Oops, one that starts 1, 2, and one that starts 3, 6. So in the 3, 6 row, we're down to 42 here. Oh, and we've used one of the odd digits, and all of these 3 are going to be odd, the central digits of this green line. That's interesting. That is interesting. Right, we're down to 6 goes into, not 42, that was what 2 goes into. 6 goes into 36. Then what can we have as the next digit? I don't know. This is difficult to work out. We're on. Oh no, it's not. Ah, there's a technique that I hadn't even thought of. So the rump we're on is 36 at the moment. We need a factor of 36 so that when we remove that number, we're still on a factor of that number. What I mean is, if x times 6, say, is y, then x times 6 plus 6, which is z, y and z are both divisible by that 6. I don't know, that was really badly explained. I don't know how to explain it any better, but each digit working from the end So when we worked from the end, we were imagining this 3, and the rest of the line adds up to 42. And then we took off the 6, and the rest of the line adds up to 36. This digit must be a factor of 36. Otherwise, when we deduct it, we won't still have a factor of that number. And that's really interesting. So we need a factor of 36 that's not 3 or 6. Well, it could be 1, 2, 4, or 9. I mean, that's quite a variety of possibilities. But we now have to reduce to a number that has an odd number as a factor. I suppose the odd number could be 1. Maybe I should start with this line and see what happens. We're down to 42. What is a factor of 42 that could be next? 3 goes into 42, 4 doesn't, 5 doesn't, 8 doesn't, 9 doesn't, 7 does. Now, 7 is clearly possible and would reduce to 35, but then that would be both odd numbers, wouldn't it? Then we would have to have an odd number next that divides into 35. That would have to be 5. That would leave 30, and we'd need to have another odd number that would have to now be 3 if it couldn't be 1, 5, or 3. Then we'd be down to 27, and we could have a 9. And this is all based on a 7 here, so it does look like that works. And now we're down to a total of 18, with 4, 6, and 8 to go. Well, it would have to be 6, and then we're down to a total of 12. And 4 goes into that, and then we start with an 8. And look, we'd have a black dot start. So this is one very plausible version of the line. If it started 1, 2, 7, that's what we'd get. Right, so I'm going to aide memoir another row. Oh, I don't know how to do it. Okay, there we go. Or that starts 1, 2, 3, and see if that's possible. Because now we're down to 39. Oh, I mean, that's impossible, because the only things that go into 39 are 3, and which we've already had, and 13. So there's no possibility there. So that's not necessary. If it ends 2, 1, this is how the line runs. Right, let's try this out. If it ends 3, 6, we've got 36 here. If we took the 9, we'd be down to 27, and we wouldn't have 9 or 3 available. We'd have to use the 1. Okay, I'm just going to note what those numbers are. If we went 9, we'd have to use the 1. We'd be down to 26, and there's no odd number that divides into that. 42, 36, 27, 26. Right, so it's not a 9. Can it be a 4 in this cell, which is at least even? Right. We're down to 36 less the 4 is 32. Well, there's the 1 that goes into that out of the odd numbers, but that would leave 31, which is prime. That's no good. What about 2? 36 would be down to 34. That only has factors of 2 and 17. That's no good. And a 1, let's hope we can rule this out quickly. 35. Oh, we probably can't. So then we could have 5 or 7 next. If we had 7, we'd be down to 28, and there is no other odd number apart from 7 that goes into that. So that's no good. If we had 5, it's a bit like this one. We'd be down to 30. We need an odd number divisor, and we've only got 7 and 9 left. That does not work. So this, we have narrowed it down to the only string. Now, we do not know which way round this string goes, because from the point of view of odd digits in the middle and black dots on the end, this string is functionally reversible. So all we know is there's a 3 in the middle, a 5 and a 9 surrounding it, 6 and 7 surrounding that, 2 and 4 in the penultimate positions, 1 and 8 at the ends of the line. And I probably need some sort of aide memoir for which order this goes in, so I don't have to keep working this out again and again. I don't want to leave this in the grid though. Okay, all I need to do is remember that one end of the line goes 8, 4, 6, 9. Or should I remember the other end of the line that goes 1, 2, 7, 5? Which one of those is more memorable? 1, 2, 7, 5. Let's do that, because the pencil marking will sort out the rest for me. One of the ends of this line is 1, 2, 7, 5. Now, my problem is I can see how we could work on a 9-cell line, which uses all the digits once each. I cannot see how we now work on a 5-cell line, let alone a 3-cell line or a 2-cell line. Oh, do we use this? These are all odd, and then they don't include 1 or 7. Oh yes, of course, we had the roping. That's a 3, 5, 9 set. It's not going to do any more for us than that, actually. So that's not all that helpful, but still, we can at least pencil mark that. But this is the only line we've now interfered with, we've now arrived at. How on earth are we going to use this? And bear in mind that the purple lines can have repeat digits. I don't know. This strikes me as terrifyingly difficult to get any further with. So let's try and think about it. Is this a better line to work with because there are no repeats? I doubt it. I mean, we've just seen how many factors you can have, and there were a lot. Oh goodness. Okay, let's try and focus on this line. So obviously this is either the beginning or the end. I think it's a bit easier to work with if this is the... I know it's not easier to work with if this is the end of the line, because we don't know the total of the rest of the line. So maybe it's easier if this is the beginning of the line. Right. If this is the beginning of the line, this can't be a 4. How about that? And the reason I claim that is because this digit would have to be divisible by 4, and it can't be 4 again, and it can't be 8 because there'll be an 8 here if that's a 4. So if this is the beginning of the line, this is a 2, that means this is a 1. This digit then could be 4, 6, or 8. If it's 8, the line adds up to 10. Okay, then we can't have a 1 next, although that's a factor of 10, because that would make the line add up to 11, and this digit would be unpopulatable. If it's 10, we can't have a 2, we'd have to have a 5. And then the line would add up to 15, and this digit would be a 3, because that's the only factor of 15 that's not a 5. No, could be a 1, could be a 1. Oh, goodness. And if it went 8, 2, 5, 1, we'd get up to 16. Oh, but we'd have used... Oh, no, it doesn't matter. We're allowed to repeat a digit on this line. We'd have used 2, 2, and 8, but we're allowed to use them again. This can't be a 4. Oh, goodness. And that's only if this is the beginning of the line. This could be the end of the line. I'm sorry. I think this is incredibly hard to think about. Oh, hang on. These digits are even, and there's a 4 in their box. Ah, well, that has changed things quite a bit. These digits are all odd, but they're not on lines. But still, this can't be 2, 6, or 8. There are only 6 black dot digits in Sudoku, and this one can't be 2, 6, or 8. So this is 1, 3, or 4. The 5, 7, and 9 don't have companions on black dots. So if that's 1, this is 2. If it's 3, this is 6. If it's 4, this is 2 or 8. So 3 possibilities here as well. And this is still the same line. Well, things got interesting then. Now, I had posited 8, 2, 5, and that's impossible because none of these numbers go into 15. And 8, 2, 1 was impossible. And all the 8, 2 possibilities are impossible. So let's just keep going. 4, 2, this would be a factor of 6. But to be divisible by this, it would have to be an even factor of 6, and we've already used 2, because we'd have to add 3 even numbers. If that's even and that's even, and we're going this way up the line, since this is something that's going to try and divide into them, and that is definitely even, then they all have to be even, including that. So 4, 2 doesn't work, 8, 2 doesn't work, 6, 2 is 8. Then we can have a 4 here. 6, 2, 4, and then we're up to 12, and this digit could be 2 or 6. Okay, well, that is possible, and then I think there are various possibilities here. But the only way we're starting from this end of the line is 6, 2, 4. Just going to corner mark those, because I think it might be worth starting from this end of the line as well. Oh, and if it's 6, 2, 4, that's 12. This isn't an 8. I don't think this is ever an 8, because I don't see how you could start from this end of the line and that be an 8. Yes, I do, because it could start with an 8. We can have a repeat digit on this blooming line. Well, at least I remembered in time. Okay, for this to be an 8, we're going to have to start from this end with 8, 8. Then this has to be divisible by 16. It can't be 1, because then we'd have 17 as the total. If it's 4, well, if it's 2, we'd have 18 as the total, but that would be 4. That doesn't work. So maybe 8, 8, 4, which is 20, would allow that to be a 2, but then we're on 22, and we can't put, oh, then we could put a 1 in here. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, so that does work. There is a chance of 8 being here if we go 8, 8, 4, 2, 1. 16 divided by 4, 20 divided by 2, 22 divided by 1. Yeah. But this is still a 4 in that situation. I mean, this is a valid way of thinking about this. So I'm going to put these candidates in now. If this is to be a 6, this has to be a 6 as well to be divisible by it. So 6, 6. That is talking about starting from this end of the line. 6, 6 adds up to 12. Now, there's a lot of factors that could come next. It can't be 6. And in fact, 3 would be in that cell. So it couldn't be 6 or 3. So there's not that many factors now. 1 would leave a total of 13, which is not divisible by anything other than 1. So this would be 2 or 4. 6, 6, 2 would be 14, and that would become a 4, and that would fail. So even if this is a 6, this is a 4. 6, 6, 4 is 16. That's a 2, and we're up to 18. And we've had 4 and 2, and this can't be 3. So this would be 1 or 6 or 9. No, not 9. 1 or 6 again. Right. Now, the possibility I've been skirting around and avoiding is this being a 2, which just requires this to be 2, 6, or 8. So let's start with this being a 2. 2 and 2 is 4. That can then only be 4. Well, it could be 1, but that won't work. 2, 2, 4 would be 8. This would be a 2. We'd be up to 10. This would be 1, because it can't be 2 or 5. That was if we started 2, 2. We're not allowed to start 4, 2. We could start 6, 2. And that gets us to 8. This can't be a 1 or that won't work. It's going to have to, it could be an 8. 6 to 8 is a 16 total. Then you get up to 18 or 20. Yeah, that does work. Oh no, it can't be an 8 because that 2, 6, 8 triple. Oh, hang on. The only even digit available in this cell is 4 by Sudoku. And surely this has to be even, because when you start here, you're dividing by an even number. So you've got to start with an even number. So you've got an even total, and then you get 4. Well, no, you've got an even total if you start from this line, because this has to be even to divide by that. No, that doesn't automatically mean this has to be a 4. If this was 6, 6, that could have been a 3, except the black dot spikes that. Wow. Okay, I'm sorry. If you're coming from this end, it had to be 6, 2. And we worked out that since 1 doesn't work, this would have to be even, and therefore it would have to be 4. But from this end, there may be other possibilities. I'm going to go through them again. Now I know that the only even digit available here is 4. So I'm going to go through all the possibilities again. I'm sorry, I just need to do this. 8 and 8 is 16. We worked out that 4 is possible here. So that's fine. It could be a 4, but could it be an odd digit? No. 8, 8, 1 is 17. That's no good. 6, 6, that becomes 3. So that's not available as an odd digit. So only 1 is available and 13 doesn't work. Right. 2, 2, odd digit would have to be 1. That would give us 5. That's no good. It's prime. 6, 2, 6, 2, 1 adds up to 9, but that won't work. 6, 2, 3. No, hang on. 3 doesn't go into 8. Yeah, so 6, 2, 1 doesn't work. 8, 2. Here we go. There is an odd digit that works, which is 5. 8, 2, 1 would add up to 11, which is prime. That's no good. 8, 2, 5 would add up to 15, but that won't divide by an even number here. This is even. It's taken me ages to work it out, but I've done it. 27 minutes, and I've got my second digit in the grid. That is even. That is a 4. This is now not a 4, and therefore this is not an 8. There is a 4 in one of these 3 cells by Sudoku. It's not here by white dot. This is 1, 3, 5, or 7. We'll come back to that because that's really quite interesting, I think. Anyway, that 4 has made this a 2. And now we know which end of the line is 1, 2, 7, 5. I did remember the rubric. And then we can fill in 9, 6, 4, 8. We can take 6. Oh, look. No, hang on. We can take 6 out of there, 8 out of there. This one, now, do we know this? If we're starting from the top, it's obviously 6. In fact, no, we've had 1 in the box, so it is obviously 6. So if we're starting from the top, we've got 6 plus 2 is 8, so we can have 4. Those add up to 12. If we had a 2, we'd be up to 14, and this digit could be 1, 2, or 7. If we had a 6, we'd be up to 18, and this silly digit could be 1, 2, 3, 6, or 9. And if we go the other way, this has to divide by, this has to be even. I don't think 2 works. 2 and 2 is 4, and 4 is 8. That does work so far. And 2 is 10, but that won't divide by 6. Wow, going up this way, I don't know, it seems much harder. I don't know. I think this could be an awful lot of things, possibly including 6 and 8. So I really don't know what's going on in this cell because I don't know which way round this line is. Those digits are a 4-8 pair. Let's just do that. And these are 4, 6, 8, and these are 1, 2, 7, and so are these. It's not going to help solve any Sudoku. But I'm going to have to move on to this green line, I think. Now, the green line is interesting because I was going to say 2 can't appear on it. It could still appear there. Look at this. These are all odd. That's odd by Sudoku. I mean, this is quite interesting, the number of odd cells around, actually. I mean, I don't need these colours anymore, do I? The roping colours, they're effectively resolved. So let's just colour parity now. Here we go. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's interesting that there's only one possible even digit in this group of cells. So I think this line might yield to, oh, 5 is looking at that cell. Right, can this be a 7? Because that's the only way this could be a 6. So if this was a 7, and it was the start of the line, this would have to be a 1 as the only number that divides into a total of 7. So we'd have 7, 1, we'd be up to 8. This would divide into 8, and we can't repeat on a green line. So it can't be 1, it would have to be 8. But now we'd be up to 16. And there's no number that isn't 1, 2, 4, or 6 that goes into that without repeating the 8 or the 1. I mean, you'd have to repeat or fail this test. So it doesn't start with a 7, but it might end with a 7 if it starts from this end. Now, to do that, these 4 digits would have to be divisible by, their sum would have to be divisible by 7. Can we really make any headway into thinking about that? I'm not sure. Probably not, actually. Darn. Tarnation. But what can I do? What can I do if I don't do that? Oh, I could note that this black dot doesn't have a 4 on it. How about that? It's either 1, 2, or 3, 6. How's that useful? It's not. It's not. We have to do the green line. We have to do something with it. Maybe I have to... Okay, I worked out what would happen if we start with a 7. Oh, you can't start this end with... Yeah, let's fill in what happens if we start with a 7. We get... It failed, didn't it? It failed if we started with a 7. It might fail from this end if we start with a 3 or a 1. Now, if we start with a 3, that digit is 2, and that digit is 1. And that leaves nothing. The 3 can only divide by 1 or 3. We've got a 1 there, and we can't repeat on a green line. So it can't begin with 3, and it can't begin with 1, because the only digit that divides by that is 1. So this is the end of the line. This is definitely the beginning. Well, that's information gained. Okay, we've just discovered you can't begin with a 1 in most positions, well, in any position on a green line. So this is 3, 5, 7, 8, or 9. But the next digit has to divide by that. And if it's 8, this digit can't be 2 or 4. The only way for this not to be 1 is if that's 9 and this is 3. So what happens if it's 9 and 3? Then we've got up to 12 by this digit, which can't be 3, 4, 2, or 6. And would have to be a 1. And then we would add up to 13, and we couldn't have a non-repeat digit in there at all. So that's not a 3. That digit is a 1. So now we're either beginning 3, 1, but there's no digit we could put there, so we're not. If we begin 5, 1, this could be a 3 actually. 5, 1, 3. But then this digit's going to have to be a 9 to divide into 9 and not be a repeat. And actually, well, that would have worked, 5, 1, 3, 9, if we were allowed to repeat a digit here, but we're not. So it doesn't begin with 5. If it begins 7, 1, this has to be an 8. 7, 1, 8 adds up to 16. This is not allowed to repeat or be 4. So it has to be 2. 7, 1, 8, 2, that's 18. 3, that works. It's probably the correct solution. 8, 1. Oh no, there are options with 8, 1. I'm going to try 9, 1 first, actually. 9, 1 is 10. This can't be 1 or 2, it must be 5. So then we're up to 15. Well, that could theoretically be 3. But then we're up to 18 and we've used 1 and 3 and that won't divide. Nine, 1, 5. Yeah, we can't repeat the 1 or the 9. 9, 1, 5, 3. That's what I worked on. Okay, so 9 won't work. This digit is 7 or 8. Now, what happens if it's 8? 8, 1. Then this can be 3 or 9. 8, 1, 3 is a total of 12. This digit's not able to be 4, and we've used 8, 1, and 3. It could be 2 or 6, which is an interesting pair. Then we get up to 14 or 18, and we've used 8, 1, 3. So that would have to be 7. So it would have to be 8, 1, 3, 2, 7. Now the other alternative and the last alternative is 8, 1, 9, which is 18. And we've used 8, 1, and 9. So this is going to have to be 2, 3, or 6. If it's 2, we get to 20, and that's impossible. If it's 3, we get to 21, and that can be a 7. So 3 is possible here. If it's 8, 1, 9, which is 18, and a 6, we get to 24, and then that could be 3. Oh, I haven't even... I mean, I think that's possible too. Botheration. Now, the 1 on this purple line can't be the start of the line because we can't put another 1 there. I mean, is that any use? Yeah, it's a bit of use. It means this cell has to have this cell as a factor. And this one can't be 1. So it's either 2 with 4, 6, or 8 here, or 3 with 9 here, or 6, or 4 with 8 here. I mean, we are beginning to narrow down possibilities in this column quite significantly. But maybe not far enough, I'm afraid. Oh, maybe this has got narrowed down. Okay. So that, if this starts here, 6, 8, 12, 14, that leaves all sorts of, that leaves 1, 2, and 7 as possible. And 6, 2, 4, 6, which is 18, leaves 3, 6, and 9. I mean, no, that's no good. I can't work on that. I could colour that orange. No, I'm sorry. I'm getting stuck again now. This line definitely starts from here. If it went 7, 1, 8, that's 16. And then I think it could go 2. No, it can't do that. I don't think it can do that. If this went 7, 1, 8, that's 16. This would have to be a 2. That's 18. And if that's a 2, this is a 6 and that's a 7 because of the white dot, and that fails. So this doesn't start with a 7. It starts with an 8. Now this line doesn't go 8, 4. And that's quite interesting because it either uses a 2 or a 3 there, and this line will definitely use the other one of 2 or 3. That's almost interesting. This can't be 8. Right, so this line either goes 8, 1, 9 is 18. Oh, hang on, we need a 1 by Sudoku in this box, and that can't be a 1 repeating on the green line. So that's a 1, that's a 2, this is 1 or 3. This is not 2 now. So now our possibilities are getting a little bit more restricted in just the way that we need. And we've got a 2 there looking at this cell, which is a 3. And that must be a 9. And we've done that line. And that 3 makes this a 9. These add up to 18. With a 3, that's 21, but we would repeat a digit. In fact, given these possibilities, we can't repeat a digit. That is a 3. And we can't repeat a digit. That is a 6. This line must work. 8 plus 1 is 9, plus 9 is 18, plus 6 is 24. It does work, thank goodness. We can do all the dividing. So we have suddenly done that green line. This is not a 3, 6 pair. It's a 1, 2 pair. Everything else in the row is 4, 5, 6, or 7. And that might become quite interesting on these green lines, but I'm putting off thinking about those because I'm absolutely bushed thinking about divisor lines. This pair of cells sees 9, 1, 8, 3, 7, 2, 6. It's a 4, 5 pair. Then we've got 2, 6, 7 in a trio here. That 4, 5 pair sees this cell, and this is now 9. Excellent, excellent stuff. That's 5 or 7. That is also odd. Is it worth carrying on the colouring? I doubt it, but you know, we get a bit obsessive sometimes. Now, this line, has it firmed up? That 2 has firmed up a little. If we're counting from this end, I guess obviously, oh no, this can't be a 6 by Sudoku. I was going to say, obviously, if the line can be 6, 2, 4, 2, 6 from one end, it can be it from the other. Now, from the top end, 6, 8, 12, still okay. 14, this would be 1, 2, or 7. From the bottom end, this has to be even. So I can eliminate 3 and 9, which I could have done by Sudoku. If that was 2, oh no, that's fine going from the top end. If it was 8, 8, 10, 14, 16 does not divide by 6, so I'm ruling out 8. That is 1, 2, or 7. Now, can we do more Sudoku somewhere? One of these is a 7. I want to do Sudoku. I don't want to do lines. Lines are breaking my skull open. I've got to do lines. You're right. Oh no, hang on. There's a 3 in this row. Good spot. There we go. That's a 5, 7, 9 triple. We know which one of them is the 9. And then that's a 7 and that's a 5. This is Sudoku. This is what I wanted to be doing. One of these is going to be an 8. I could mark those as odd, I know. One of these is going to be an 8. That can't be 7 anymore. But 1 and 2 are perfectly allowable on the line going this way. 7, 9, 3. Oh, these can't be 6, so that's a 4, 6 pair. These are part of 1, 2, 8. 6, 1, 2, 8, 4. One of these is a 3. That's not 7. 5, so that's a 1, 2 pair. These are from 4, 6, 8. They're even. Right, I'm prepared to look at this line now, but it's allowed a repeat. I don't see that any combination there is ruled out. Oh, maybe 6, 8. I mean, what a useless line. What a cruel, evil, mocking line. Let's not beat about the bush. Wow, I mean, this puzzle's bonkers. As a non-mathematician, I'm definitely allowed to say, oh, there's a call coming. Excuse me a second, sorry. Right, sorry about that. Now, I was apparently looking at this and concluding that it could be almost anything apart from a 6-8 pair. I don't know if that's right. I just don't think I've got bandwidth to try and reduce anything based on that. So this one, this is the line that seems to be holding out some promise. Oh no, hang on. This is quite interesting because of 1 and 2 having gone in the box. So if that was a 5 or a 7, this line just wouldn't work because that cell couldn't precede 5 or 7. And with 1 gone, it couldn't come after them without being the same digit. So that is 4 or 6. That's slightly interesting. This one is then either a factor or a multiple of 4 or 6. So if that was a 6, this could be a 3. Oh, I was going to say if it was a 4, it could be an 8. But look at this digit at the top. If that was a 4, wouldn't this have to be 1, 2, or 8? I honestly think it's this tiny little 2-cell line hidden away in the corner that gets me going. Am I right? Am I right? This is a 6 and that's a 3. One of the digits has to be a factor of the other. They have to be different, obviously. 4 just doesn't work because 1, 2, and 8 and 4 are all unavailable. So it is 6. And now that has to be 3. That has to be right, I think. That 6 gives me a 7 in the other corner. Now these can't be 6 or 7. Now, the trouble is this can be 5. It's easy for it to be 5. That would be if that was the beginning of the line, this would be a 1 and that would be a 6 or a 3. I mean, I don't know. Oh, hang on. 4-5 pair there reduces this to a 6-8 pair. At least that's getting me some Sudoku done. And okay, that's a 1-3 pair by Sudoku. Look at those two. So this is a 2-7 pair. Now, how could this ever be 7? Whatever this is, and whichever end the line starts, this digit has to divide into the first digit we've had on the line. It can't be 7. It must be 2. And there must be an even digit on one end of the line accordingly. So the line starts here with a 4, and then that's a 2. Then this can be a 1 or a 3. You may wonder, what is the point of having extended the line? Well, it was so that we knew that that wasn't the start of the line with a 7, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, that is a 4. This one I can't decide, but we got a 4 there, so we can do columns 5 and 6, perhaps. That's not an 8 now. That's an 8. Now this can't be a 6, and now this line is valid. It has validity. That is an 8. That's a 6. 8, 8 is perfectly fine in this puzzle. Weird as it seems, that is a very valid line. Plenty of orange. I don't know why I'm still doing the odd even colouring. Some people complain. Some people complain if I don't. Honestly, I can't cater for everybody. That doesn't work. This is a clash. Oh, botheration, blow, blast, and other filthy curse words. Okay, I'm going all the way back to where I resumed with this digit in the corner. I've got something wrong, and that's incredibly annoying. Oh, it's going so well. I even like this 8-6 line that couldn't be 8-6. No, that was definitely right about this cell. And I think 6-3 was mandated. 4, 5, 6, 8 pair. Maybe I was okay up to here. That gave me a 4 up there. Then by Sudoku, that was a 1, 3, and this was a 2, 7. Now, was my logic silly in saying that that couldn't be a 7? Surely this number on the green line has to divide the previous number. It has to be a 2 following a 4. It's just got to be. And then I did 4, 6 and 6, 8 up the grid. Then I placed 8 here on this line. And then this has to be a factor or a multiple of that, and that has to be 8. But that gives me a 6, 2 pair here looking at that cell. Oh well, this is very, very depressing. So I must have gone wrong way before that, and probably before the last line I sort of completed. I don't understand. I'm so depressed by that. I don't know. How can that be a 7? It cannot be. The rule doesn't allow it. It's a 2 with an even. So maybe I've done some Sudoku wrong. That would be marvelous. So, okay, let's go back to the stage where I said at the bottom of the grid we had a 3 and a 9, because maybe that wasn't rigorously thought through. See, we got this far. Oh my goodness, it was all the way back here, wasn't it? It was all about the black and the white dot interaction, and I finally worked out. Well, maybe I have not marked this up with enough possibilities. Oh. Well, no, we have to start from that end. We can have repeat digits, but we can't have a repeat 1 on this line because 1 can never be the starting digit, only if it could be followed by a 1. So I said, oh, what's that? That's me doing mistyping. So I got to this point. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, I see. Then I got to this point. Okay, let's just start from here, where I know this line starts 8, 1 now. And this has to be divisible by 9, so it's not 8. Gosh, I don't know what's happened with the playback. Anyway, that is 9 or 3. Now, there was something that was ruled out because it puts 6 here and 7 here. 9 and an 8, and yeah, okay, let's just go from here again. We've got that 8. Now these can't contain an 8. And therefore, well, okay, that's fine. Now, if this is a 3, I can't remember what turns out to be right. Okay, if it's a 9, we've got 18. And if we add a 2, we get to 20, and nothing is possible there because we can't have repeats on this line. If we get to 3, we get to 21. But that doesn't work because that has to be a 7, and this has to be a 6, and that also has to be a 3. So 8, 1, 9, 6, we get to 24, and that can be a 3, and that seems to work okay. 8, 1, 9, 6, 3. And then we put 2, 1 here. Oh, here's an interesting point that is not how I did this earlier, I don't think. One of these digits is a 2 or a 3. This is either a 1, 2 or a 3, 6 black dot. And that is the other digit from 2 and 3, since it can't be 4 anymore. And this has to be a 6. Okay, let's do it like that. Now, Oh, both 8, okay. 813, that they are both divisible by 6, both 813, which is 12, and 819, which is 18. But if we have 813, we're up to 18 and we're not allowed to repeat 1 or 3, so that doesn't work. So this is 819, and we're up to 24 and we're not allowed to use 1 or 9, that is a 3. So this does sort of work. We get a 2 here and a 1 here. I hope this is different from what I did last time, but it's definitely not. Do you know, I know what happened. I put a 3 in here and I immediately put a 9 here. And that is not a given 9. That could be 6, couldn't it? 3, 6 comes out of here. Right, that was where the mistake was. And I never had a suspicion that it was happening. Oh, I'm so sorry to force you to watch this nonsense. Right, but we're back on track. We are back on track. And this can be 6 or 9. And that is very important. And we've finished this line. Now, there's probably a bit of Sudoku I can still do. Or maybe not. Yes, these digits, C, 7126398. That's a 4-5 pair. That's good Sudoku. 918. This is a 267 triple. The bottom cell can't be 2 because of the 1-2 pair. We've got that 260. Yes, 3 in this row. I sort of remember some of this, doing it before, funnily enough. That's now an 8-9 pair, which I don't remember, but maybe that's what we had before. This is a 5-7-9 triple. That does ring bells. Quite a few possibilities have come out of that. I'm not really going to think about that too much. I'm going to think about this bottom row again. So we've had 8, 3, 1, and 2. Everything else is 4, 5, 6, 7, or 9, which I did rule out before, but which I can't. This cannot be 5 or 7 because that can't be 1. Now, I think 4 is still ruled out here because that is not allowed to be 1, 2, 8, or a repeat 4. So I think this digit in the corner is 6 or 9, and that is a pair, and this is 7 in the other corner. It's not how I did the 7 there last time, but it's still right. These now are 4 or 5 as a pair, and that might ring a bell, but something is going to change on this line from what we did before. That 6 or 9 is going to be the start of the line, and this is going to be divided into it, and can't be 1 or 2. So it must be 3. If it's a 6, 3 is the only other factor, and so it is if it's a 9. So that has to be a 3, which is weird. That places 3 by Sudoku here. Look, 4 3s looking into box 8. Now, if that's the starting point of the line, this one has to be a 1, but it can't be. So this is the end of the line. Therefore, this is the start. And similarly, this can't be a 5 because that would be a 1. So this is a 4. That's a 5. The only digit that divides into 4 that isn't 4 or 1 is 2. And this line goes this way. 4 divides into 2. 4 plus 2 is 6, which divides by 3. So that 2 has resolved 6 and 2 here. Now, 4 is looking at that cell, putting a 4, no, not there, but there, and a 4 here. 1 is in one of those cells. Don't know what to do with the 6-9 pair. In this column, that can't be 3. Oh, we need a 4 in the final column. There it is. That sorts out 5, 4. Now there's a 5 in one of those two cells, and these are from 7, 8, 9. The right-hand one is not a 9. Some interesting equivalences now. We need a 6 and a 9 in this box. One of them is there, one of them is here. There's a 3 in box 6. There it is. And that gives us 3 up here. As all the 3s in the grid are done, it looks like to me. And all the 4s. I'm going to have to think about this blooming line again because I lost the will to live thinking about it. 6 and 2 is 8 and 4 is 12 and 2 is 14. This then would have to be a 1 or a 2 if we were going this way. If we were going the other way, this couldn't be a 1. If it was a 2, 2, 4, 8, 10, it would fail. If it was an 8, 8, 10, 14, 16, it would fail at the 6. So that is a 1 or a 2. It's not an 8. I mean, that just doesn't feel very conclusive. I suppose this digit seems to be 1, 6, or 8 by Sudoku. Oh, 5 is fixed in the middle box. Didn't see that. 9, 5, 3, 4. Yeah, that's interesting. Only one of these can be 1 or 2 because of that digit. And therefore this digit is the other 1 or 2. Is that 7-9 pair not doing something else more than I can see? There's a 7 X-wing with that and that. And this must therefore be the 7 in column 6. There we go. That's what it was doing. 3, 7, 4, 5, 9. That's 1, 6, or 8. These two little pink lines, they're going to suddenly do something. Oh, that digit has to go here, whichever it is. That means there's a 9 in one of these cells, which resolves the 8-9 pair. That's weird. And this is now a 5-7 pair. And these are therefore 1, 2, 8 as a trio, and that's 6. That's how I should have seen that, by asking where 6 went in the box. Okay, I'm actually going to get rid rather, because I don't think the colouring really helped me last time, especially as I fouled it all up. Right, we found 8 in this central box. And now that means that this digit, which can't be 2, 9, 5, 3, 7, or 4, is 1, 6, or 8, but 6 is not allowed. So it's 1 or 8. I wish that was more helpful. These are from 5, 8, 9. This looks useless. I mean, if that turns out to be a 2, it's not useless. Oh, that 2 is looking up at the top. This is from 1 or 9, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, look, no, it's a naked single. 2, 9, 5, 3, 7, 4, 8, 6, all looking at this cell. So that's a 1. This is 8. That's 9. This is 6. 9 in the corner. Oh, that's huge, actually. This is now a 5, 8 pair. This is a 6, 7 pair. Well, yeah, that is going to end up being a 2. So let's find out how that happens. 7, 9, not 7, 7. We've got this 1, 2 pair. I don't know how they're getting resolved. Oh, that's going to end up being a well, this will be a 7, which will force this to be a 1. That's what's going to happen. I mean, stop predicting ahead. Let's just solve this puzzle. That 9 is looking at the 5, 9 on the red. Then we need a 9 in box 6. This is, oh, that 5 is now looking at this cell. That's a 7. That sorts out 7, 5. These are 1 and 5, and we certainly know the order. And that 5 sorts out 8, 5, which places 8. We must have some sort of 6 evidence. Yeah, we've got a 6 there. We do have 6 evidence. That gives 2, 6. Now we can do 2, 7, 1. We can do 2, 1 down here. And now this 7 line determines that this digit can't be 2. And that sorts out the 1, 2 deadly pattern. And there we go. We have resolved the divisores dubietionius. And my goodness, that is a tough puzzle. And I'm sorry about the mistake that came before my break and got fixed after it, which is never fun for me having to figure out. Sorry about the phone call in the middle as well. Anyway, there we go. Puzzle done, and not easy. I hope we've had a better time streaming. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.